I'm going to be doing something, this is makeup style hair, and I'm going to be doing something a little different for you today. Right now I've come down with a cold, and I'm going to be showing you how to do makeup that will give back that glow to your face if you're sick. And I'm going to get started because I'm doing a whole face. I want to keep this relatively quickly. First of all, the first thing you want to do is make sure your face is well moisturized. When you have a cold, it tends to dry your skin out, and you tend to get real dry and ruddy around the nose areas. So I put a little extra moisturizer around my nose. Now I'm using this vitamin E face mist from the Body Shop. Just a couple squirts will do you. Next, I'm going to be using a Sheer Lights Illuminating Tinted Moisturizer. Stay far away from wearing matte, full coverage, thick, heavy foundations when you have a cold, because they'll just cake up and look horrible. You kind of scrunch your face up quite a bit when you blow your nose, etc., etc., and it'll just totally ruin it. So I highly recommend you get either a tinted moisturizer, or you can mix your foundation with a moisturizer of your choice. And I'm just taking a little bit on this sponge, or on this brush, and this is going to give me kind of that dewy look. So just don't go for too full of a coverage. As you notice, this doesn't have very much coverage to it. It has a little bit actually, but it also has some illuminating qualities to it, which I really like. So I'm just going to get that all over, blend it out, and a little more on for my forehead. I didn't get quite enough on there on that brush. Make sure that's blended in nicely. I'm not really used to these mirrors, doing my makeup in a little mirror, so kind of unsure. Next I'm going to be doing taking some concealer, and this is the second most important step in my opinion when you are sick, concealing the ruddy areas. And this is a highly pigmented concealer. This is Lancome, and it's very old. It's just called Corrector, and I don't recommend you use this on your face. I recommend it as just an under eye circle. It has kind of a yellowish tinge to it, and since it's so pigmented, it's great because my circles are so dark right now that most concealers wouldn't do good covering them. I'm just going to blend that out. I'm using my ring finger because it's a lot gentler. Won't harm my eyes as much. I'm just trying to go pretty quickly, getting up to the outer corners. I'm also going to dab a little bit on my eyes, over my eyelids. Now you can just see how pigmented this concealer really is. You totally just need a little bit of it. Blend that all out. Next I'm going to be using, I got this product from Smashbox. It's a Photo Op Under Eye Brightening Illuminator, and I actually am going to be, wait a sec, I haven't concealed around my nose yet. What am I thinking? I'm going to be using this Janie Riddell concealer around my nose, and I'm using this instead of Lancome because it's a little lighter, looks a little less cakey, and you want to make sure you get around your nose really well. I used a little bit of Vaseline around my nose actually when I was moisturizing. I know Vaseline might not be the best, but just to get that added hint of moisturizer, just because my skin can tend to look so ruddy. So I'm focusing in on this nose area. Trying to get around my nostrils. I know this looks a little gross, but just give you the idea. Get right in there, right underneath those nostrils. That's where all the red pigment goes. I'm also going to just do a little bit here. Really make sure you blend this out. Cakey foundation looks horrible no matter what. Concealer that shows up looks horrible, so you can also use like a full coverage foundation for this part of it. as opposed to a concealer, but this concealer has some nice soothing qualities to it. It has some green tea to it, so I really like it for that. I'm also going to get in between my eyebrows. That's just where I tend to break out, get a little ruddy. Just a little bit. Barely have to use any. Gives a nice, really buildable coverage with this concealer. Next I'm going to be taking a translucent powder, and the only reason I'm using this is to set my concealer. I'm not trying to mattify my face. If you have oily skin and you're still oily, you may use this to mattify your face a bit, but the only reason I'm using this is to set my concealer and stop it from, so I'm not going to get this over my cheeks because I want a nice glow there. Next I'm going to be using my Smashbox Photo Op, and I'm just going to be using a little bit of this under the eyes area and down a bit around the nose. And I like this because it has some super subtle shimmer to it. Really wakes up your skin. Just patting that in. Next step I'm going to show you, I guess I'm going to do my blush, and this is from Joe Fresh. This was $4 at Save-Ons, I think. This is one of the best cream blushes I've used, and it's $4, so highly recommend you get this. Just quickly putting it on my cheeks, blending it out. You can use a brush if you want, but I don't happen to have a blush that is good with cream blush, so this has a very subtle hint of kind of gold shimmer to it. Other than that, it's a nice corally pinky peach shade, and it tends to suit all skin tones, and it can look super pretty and give you a nice, youthful, healthy glow. Next I'm going to be focusing on the eyes. If you want, you can add a little bronzer, and I'm going to just do the subtlest hint of gold, just around in a 3 motion, not covering that blush or anything, just the subtlest amount of bronze. Too much matte, too much dark bronzer will not look good when you have a cold. Next I'm going to be focusing on the eyes. I'm going to take this Janie Iredale eye gloss, liquid eye gloss, and I'm going to be focusing this on the inner corner. This has quite a nice sheen to it. You want to be careful if you use how dark a shadows you go. I highly recommend just using simple light colors, because dark colors really tend to smudge if your eyes are. And I'm not really getting a shadow effect out of this, I'm just getting some subtle sheen to it. And just a little bit under the brow bone. Next I'm gonna fill my brows in, and this is just another step I highly recommend. Kinda brings back a healthy look to your face, which doesn't seem to make much sense because it's your eyebrows, but it definitely makes you look more pulled together. I'm using an eyebrow pencil. You can use a eyebrow powder if you like. It might work a lot easier for you. This just works quicker, so that's what I had on hand. Don't press down too hard, because if you harsh, messy looking eyebrows, to me, just draw attention to any flaws you might have. So I'm just doing light feathery strokes, just super light, super focusing more on that arch. Full looking brows have a real healthy appearance, in my opinion, versus thin over-plucked eyebrows. So just like that, you can brush them up with this other side. This is Marcel, it's in Blondie. I actually quite like this eyebrow pencil. You can get it at the drugstore, and it's also hypoallergenic. Next I'm going to be lining my waterline, and please stay away from black when you have a cold. It'll smudge, it'll look horrible. White, if it smudges down, it doesn't seem to matter, so this is quite hard for me without looking looking in the mirror, but it doesn't have to be too perfect because it's just to brighten up the eye. If white's a little harsh for you, you can use a beige or a nude eyeliner. Might even could even consider using a pale gold, just something to really